Az épületinformációs modellezés, avagy röviden csak BIM, nagyszerű eszköz a modern építészeti tervezésben. Azonban sokan úgy érezhetik, hogy a BIM egyelőre még elérhetetlen számukra. Ennek egyik oka, hogy 2D-ről BIM módszerekre váltani időigényesnek és költségesnek tűnik. Az új követelmények és jogszabályok is túl bonyolultnak látszanak a napi munkában. Tény, hogy a BIM új hozzáállást és munkamódszereket igényel. Küldetésünk, hogy az ARCHLine-nal ajtót nyissunk a BIM világára. Az ARCHLine lépésről lépésre segíti az áttérést 2D-ről 3D-re és 3D-ről BIM-re. A rajzolásból így 3D tervezés válik, miközben a BIM paraméterek is fokozatosan a munkamenetbe illeszkednek. A projektek társtervezőkkel való megosztása könnyebb. Versenyképességét, tervezői tudását a BIM világában is fenntarthatja, sőt növelheti. Az ARCHLine IFC minősített BIM szoftver. Nincs szükség bővítményekre, az eddig elkészített munkákkal is tovább dolgozhat. A félreértések elkerülhetővé válnak, használjon valódi termékeket, dolgozzon hatékonyabban másokkal. A BIM hamarosan szabvánnyá válik. Lépjen be a BIM világába az ARCHLine-nal.
Hello and welcome to our latest webinar. My name is Zoltán Tóth. Over here is our resident architect, Mr. Ilya Schwab.
Hi there.
Today we are starting a new 5-station series where we are going to look at the whole building design process from beginning to end. We are going to look at how to create a building, how to use architectural data, how to create design documentation, how to create some great visuals, and what are the BIM benefits that you can use in a regular size project. So that is going to be in the next 5 episodes that we are going to deal with. And first we are going to start with the beginning, with the early steps. Ilyes, can you tell us in a couple of words what we are going to do today?
Well, today we will use medium-size dwelling. That will be the project that we will work on, and we will start from scratch. You can start many ways in ARCHLine, but today we will cover how to literally create something from
nothing.
From nothing, just you know, working on the white paper, just expressing your ideas in a building, and then we will show you how to create styles even, and how to further develop the simple version of this building into a detailed one. There will be another session talking about the details, the documentation and all other things. Today we will try to cover the whole workflow from start till the end, to show all steps one by one, which leads from literally nothing to a building documented version. And then in the following sessions we will bring in more details how to answer those questions.
But just in case you're not completely familiar with what we are doing and what our software ARCHLine.XP is, let's talk about that first, because this is the first part of a 5-station training series. So let's start with the beginning. Who we are, what we do, and what we are offering. Sorry, this is accidentally the Hungarian version. Just give me 1 second to load up the English one.
Yeah, it's just a
just a glitch. Until then, please tell us what we are going to keep on discussing this week.
So about this model that we will use, we are very thankful for the designer and internal parts, roofs, and the flat roof itself, and the structure inside. So this is what we will create today.
Perfect.
This is what we will start with today.
Yes. Meanwhile, I have the slides ready. So ARCHLine is actually a BIM design software which is based on CAD tools that you know and you already love. And it's targeted for 3 main areas: architecture, interior design, and furniture manufacture. Obviously now we are going to focus on mostly on architectural tools.
Yeah.
So this means that everything that you would need during a design is in one package. So all the things that we are going to discuss today comes under the one umbrella of ARCHLine.XP. And what we are going to show during these discussions is how you can not only create your own design, but how you can collaborate with others using the benefits of BIM. Now, when we talk about BIM, this is a pretty new area, but we are going to talk about that too. What are the file formats, what IFC is, what it does compared to other file formats, and we talk about all these kind of details.
Yeah.
And we are hoping that using this training, you will be able to smoothly transition from two-dimensional CAD into something else, into BIM.
And if you use any sort of other software, even not only 2D but modelers or other architectural solutions, this will be a good guide for you to be able to understand what are the similarities and the differences between what you used before and what we offer for you.
Let us give you a teaser of what we are hoping to achieve. Here are a few slides of the renders that we are hoping to create by the end of our sessions. As you know, ARCHLine is targeted for creating design and building models. And eventually you can create visuals and rendered images from the software. You can either use the built-in renderer that we have in the software, or you can use a third-party solution.
Yeah.
A couple of thoughts on this?
Well, there are other solutions that we will show you at the stage when we talk about the visual design. And there will be a pretty exciting one, which allows you to, if you have a powerful GPU, utilize the power what you have inside. But what we will first focus on is what is inside the package, and that is a built-in renderer with all sorts of material settings, and of course it's integrated into the project. So whatever you create, it's in one single file. Even the visuals you can put into that file, and then you can just, at later, for example, 1 year later, you can just load that up and continue where you left off.
Perfect. So let's see what we have have on the topic today. So this is I'm sorry, this is something that we have to amend. Just give me 1 second to amend that. You just have to share the screen.
Okay.
Let's see how that can be done.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. There's a glitch that we have to fight, but that's the charm of the live shows that we are doing. So in a couple of seconds ago, you saw how we are broadcasting the show. That's another topic. So now we are going to talk about...
Actually, we have another webinar.
We have another webinar on that too.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the building itself. So as I understand, this is from one of our users.
Yeah. So this project was designed a few years back. It's still an up-to-date model. As you can see, it's fine detailed. I mean, this is still conceptual, but it already features many details that will lead to the end version, which you can see at the right-hand side. There are the sections, the elevations, the 2D floor plan, and the 3D, the visuals themselves. So let's start first with how we can create a floor plan. I will use this as a guide. I have a printed plan, but you don't need to have that. It's just I don't remember the numbers very well, so I will just sometimes look at this paper. But first we will start with the method of how you can draft, how you can create the drawing literally from scratch, from nothing. So for that, I will start working with a new project. So I will just go to new project. Actually, this is what you will see when you start up ARCHLine, and you can either select any of the recent projects. You can even click here to switch between the icon list, the icon preview, the thumbnail view, and the list view. Now, when you are in the list view, you can actually filter the content. You can see all the history back for a very long time of the files that you loaded, and with the locations and the file names and so on. So the point here is that if you would like to find anything, like I'm willing to find a model that we used last time, which is called the Elata Nova project, and then it filters to that. So
you can filter to the name, and obviously you can use the date filter, for instance, to find the most recent version of the project.
You can actually organize this content by default. I believe this is organized like it's on your screen, so it's organized by date, but you can organize by size, path, and name. So it is really on you how you would like to represent this list. Actually, the icon is the thumbnail view. Always represent the projects one by one with a little preview and in time order. So the top one is the latest one, and if we scroll back, we can see earlier projects that we've worked on. Perfect. So now, actually talking about this now, I'm not willing to open up a recent project, so I will click on the new project, and when I do that, the ARCHLine.XP automatically prepares a project in the default folder, which is under your documents, ARCHLine.XP draw folder. You can actually save anywhere else on your hard disk, and you can work with a file which is located anywhere else on the hard disk, but this is the default path.
What is a project?
Well, a project, as you will see, contains all the content that is necessary to be able to replicate this same content at any time later on. So in a nutshell, it contains the drawing, the sections, the materials, the views, all the content, even the objects that you have downloaded and used in this project, the styles and so on. So you can be sure that whenever you create anything in ARCHLine, then whenever you pass that to another person, that person will be able to see and edit exactly the same content as you saw it before.
That's actually the first step towards BIM, because you're not only going to exchange drawings but also information. But we will talk about that later on. So how do we get started?
Let's start with the wall tool. Now, whenever you create anything in ARCHLine, you just find a command, you click on it, and then the command starts. Sometimes you will see a little menu appearing. In that case, you will have many other options, other sort of tools, but many times it's just enough to click on the main tool to initiate the command. Now, when I would like to create a wall, it is a very simple task. You just click once, and then you release the mouse button. You don't click and drag. You just click once, and then you move your mouse to the desired direction, and either you can click now to create the wall itself, or you can just move the mouse and release the mouse and then just type a value. Like now I'm actually working in millimeters. You can see it at the right bottom corner. So when I move the mouse and I type 1500 and I hit enter, I will create a vertical wall which is 1500 millimeters long. And as you can see, whenever you create something in ARCHLine, it appears automatically in the 2D and in the 3D parallel. You can actually switch between the full screen mode and the regular windowed mode. And also there is a project navigator. Now it's by default off, but you can turn it back on. I mean, you can just, snap it to the right, pin it down to the right side of the screen. And in that case, you can navigate it that way in the software, changing floors, drawings, and so on. I will use now the default layout of ARCHLine, and sometimes we will get back to this point when it becomes necessary. So actually, this is how you work with that. And whenever you would like to skip the command, as you can see, it's running continuously. Most of the commands do. So if you would like to terminate the command, you would like to say that, okay, this is not something that I would like to continue working with, I just hit escape and then I start another tool. Whenever you would like to select something, you just click on that. If you would like to select something else, you just click on that as well. If you would like to select multiple items, you can click and drag a selection rectangle, and then, for example, you can erase that. So this is basically how you work. So now I'm willing to draft something that will be the initial phase of our drawing. So first I will draft, knowing all these things that I've just talked about. I will create the outer contour, the main walls of this building. It's worth note that now I will work with the default settings, but later on we will realize that we would like to have a different setting, so we will teach you how to change the settings. But now we just pick the wall and we start drawing. So I just click here, and then just as I did before, I click down and I say that I would like to create this wall with its external lengths. So this is something of a
So actually what you are doing now is that you are typing in the exact value. So instead of working with a visual control, you are typing in the exact value. And one interesting thing that we can observe is that whenever you are working with something, you see a bluish line, which is actually the reference line.
That's the reference line.
That is actually the thing that you are measuring and positioning, and the wall is added in relation to that line. We'll show later on how to toggle that. But what happens here is that as you proceed, you see that there are green dotted lines, for example, which help to snap to an orthogonal direction. Because now we are working in that. We are not working with any slanted directions. We are just going up and sideways. And now this is an interesting point, because now you could be adding the value, or you can just snap to the bottom left wall corner.
And this is where an important question comes up, that if I move my mouse to this point, I can snap to this point, but how can I snap to this actually non-existing point? There are two ways. One, the simplest, I mean, it depends who you think of it, but how you think of it. But one of the simplest is if you move your mouse to the corner point and you keep the mouse over there, and then you remove it, these green lines appear. These are the guidelines which you can snap to. So it's very easy to find the intersection. And then actually there is another way. If I would like to create something like with this length, I could still use the same, or I can just keep holding the shift key, and see now, whenever I move my mouse, I'm not clicking.
Oh, so you're
I'm
not able to distort the direction.
See, yeah, I'm locking the direction, and then I can also refer to this other point. So both works, but now I'm just quickly creating something like
I see that there's
this.
an extra part, an extruding little
Like a
niche
bay
in this.
or-
Yes,
or
that's
something,
right. So
yeah.
how do you add that? Would you draw it as a separate entity, or would you break this wall up to
There are many
different
ways.
pieces?
I could break this up. I could also draw it like when I saw it. This time I just simply forgot about it, but it's okay. I could erase that, restart it, but there is a neat tool to do that, and it's called and it's in the edit. We are working with the building tools. This is the ribbon bar building part, and we are working with the wall parts. And in edit you can find this insert square add-on, and then this allows you to build up an arc rectangular or bay window style, and whichever you select, you can determine the size of that. And I can see it here clearly that the depth, the B value, should be 1,000. That's fine.
That's correct.
And the width, the A, that should be something a bit of larger value. I think
2,680.
Oh, no, that's the outer size, but the inner
Oh, yes.
size is the same. So that's correct. So that should be the inner size, 1,800. So now don't forget that you actually designed this inner side, not the external parts of this. So let's say, okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, and then whenever you see this this marker, this exclamation mark, this usually means that whatever you would like to do now just does not make any sense in this specific content. You cannot place this out just into the thin air, but you can snap it to an existing wall. So that's why
So
you
it cannot
cannot
stand
see
on its own.
you cannot see this happening anyhow else. Now I know that this little orange corner point that I can see on the screen now is exactly 2,300 millimeters from the corner. So instead of trying to find that value, I would not recommend you doing that. So instead of trying to find the value here, you just move your mouse to the position wherever you wish to do that, and then you just again start typing. So each and every time you would like to use a specific value that you would like to determine, then type it always. So because that will result in the result that you would like to create. So this is how you do that. And then again, this command just keeps running until you say escape, and then now we can go on and start working with the details inside.
I see some partition walls here.
Yeah,
with various sizes, various.
Okay, so let's
thicknesses.
focus a little bit of on the details, how you can set up settings. Now, just as I mentioned, whenever you work with something, you can work with tiles. Some software call it templates or presets or something like that. ARCHLine calls them styles. So if you click on wall, then you can see the style list here at the left-hand side. And as you can see, the ARCHLine software is shipped with built-in localized content. Now we work with the international English version, but your country's details might be a little bit different. So you will see a similar list to this. So whatever I select here, now I know that I would like to create a 300 millimeter thick wall. So I just click on this one. It's actually in centimeters. So I click here. And then when I click on the corner point from where I would like to start drafting, then I just use it. There is only this wall here, and then there is another one which should be 100 millimeters wide. So I click here and I start drafting. There is one here, and there is another one here. And see, now there is a problem with the blue line. Now the blue line, in correspondence with the origin or with the orange part, it should be flipped over. So how to do that? You can actually go to the right-hand side. There are options appearing. Most of the commands supporting options, those options will always appear at the right-hand side. They are optional, so you don't have to use them, but in case you need them, they are there. So in this case, I just click on the right side, see it's flipped over. I can click on the left side, then it's flipped back, and there is also the center, the middle. So
but
this
you
way
now
you can
want it on the other side.
Yeah, so I'm clicking on the right side, and then I just click here, and then I just keep drafting. Now, I don't necessarily need to always work with values. So if I just know the shape that I'm about to create, and later I would like to fix the size, that's also fine. So I will focus on this now. So I just know that the shape will be something like this, And there is, again, a wall somewhere here around until this point.
Again, use this green.
Yeah, I'm just snapping,
lines.
and then I know that there are 2 walls. I actually know the values, but it's fine later to fix that. So I just simply rough them, and then now I will show you how to change the relation between the items later on. And this is actually something to do with the selection. Now, just as I mentioned, when you would like to select something, you just click on that item. If you would like to select something else, you click on that as well. If you select on an item and then you click on the control, I mean you keep holding the control key, and then you click on another item, now this leads to multi selection, and this is different from you know, the rectangular selection, because in that case I likely would select other walls. This way you can pick specific items one by one,
and all of them are going to be
the selection. Yeah, and the same way you can go back. So now I know that the distance between these 2 walls is exactly 1100, and then I just type it and then it fixes that. See, it of course keeps the connections, and the same way I can just fix this here. So let's just move this. This will be, I believe it's 2350, and there's another one here, and this is, it's actually 2100. And so on, keep going. So this is how you can later on refresh or update the content. Wherever you move the items until they just, they are not in a geometrically impossible situation, they will be kept in connection, as you can see on the screen. So now there is another option. I talked about the wall styles, but I didn't talk about the settings. Why are they like that?
Yes, that's a good question.
Each and every time, whenever you would like to draw something, the software is working with the current default setting. Now the current default settings you can find in the properties. There's the wall, and as you can see under properties you can also set up the wall properties. Now if you click here, you can see the properties revealed, and this tells me that the current setting is actually the 1 layer 10 wide wall, and it's bright white on both sides. It has brick inside. It's having a 2700 millimeter height. There is the starting point. So all the geometrical details with the thickness, and if this would be a compound wall with multi-layers, as you can see here, you can just keep adding them, or whenever you select a multi-layered structure, this will be represented here, and then you can just fine tweak it or just make changes, adjustments to whatever you would like to change.
So if there's anything you cannot find in the style library, you can create your own.
So let's see an example. For example, I know that this wall is not correct now, because I just realized that I started working with the 380 wide millimeter walls, but actually what I'm willing to create is 440 in thickness. So how to do that? Let's go back to the settings, wall and wall settings. Let's use the this as an initial setting, because otherwise it's okay. The material, the height is fine. So I just use that. I load up the styles list from within the dialog, and I double click on this wall, this one, and it loads the settings, and then I can change the settings to wherever I want to do that. I mean, this should be the setting. You can even set up the layer settings, priority order, and so on. So let's say I'm fine with that, and even without saving it into a style, it's very important. You don't have to save them into a style. You can just click OK and start working with it. Let me just show you that. If you just click there, and now I'm working with a thicker wall. But to be able to go back, let's just find this one. To be able to save it, you just need to click here, and you just need to say that, okay, this is a new style, and this style will be, again, simple 440 millimeter wide load bearing, and so on. So you can keep the name according to your standards. You can set up a folder, just as you can see. This is a composite folder. There's a framed construction folder, and so on. You can even create a subfolder, and you can decide what happens with this style. Now, a style, when you create it, it can be visible all through other projects on this computer, or you can make it private to this one. So this is the project only setting. I will keep it as a public style for all the projects, so I will just go with the default. Let's just go with, okay, now I can see the name appearing here. So from now on, whenever I create a new wall, I will create that wall with that specific setting. Now that's fine, but I actually would like to change this existing wall into the latest created settings. So for that, I can actually select
Is
the
there an
items.
easier way to
Yeah,
select
and
all
actually
these?
there is a much better way instead of just simply going through and select them one by one. And there is a selection tool which is called, which is actually appearing two places in the software. One is at the bottom. You can click here, and you can see there is a by properties option. Now, by properties allows you to select a criteria, like in this case, this will be the wall width, and the wall, if the wall width equals to a specific value that I determine
I
here.
think it should be 380.
Sorry, yeah, that's right. You're right. Because that's what I'm willing to do, and now I only have these, so I just select this, click OK. So now the software selects all walls with the same thickness, and then now I can just click here, select the correct style, which is simple 400 and 400 millimeter. So now it makes changes, and some places, as you can see, I might need to fine tweak what happens here. Like just move this item with the movement marker, move from this point to this point.
So that's how you can
stuff.
override the settings
Yeah,
in the project that you're working on. How about other other editing tools? For example, if I want to add a slab to this.
Yeah,
how
as
do
you
I
can
do
see, first things first, how you can handle the content. Now, as you could see that I'm zooming in by scrolling up. I will zoom out scrolling down. Each and every time when I zoom in, the focus, the center of zoom is where I keep my mouse. So I'm not just holding it here. So this is how you can fine tune whatever you zoom. You can actually keep holding the mouse wheel and moving the mouse. This is panning, and this works all around. This works in the 3D, this works in the 2D, and also zoom in and out works the same way. Now the difference here is in the 3D, that in the 3D you can actually rotate the model, you can orbit around the model, and this can be done by just simply holding down the shift key and the mouse wheel and then just rotating. So this way, now we can actually clearly see that we don't have any supporting slab or ceiling or anything like that. So I will just quickly create that. So I just go back here and I will use the slab tool. Now the slab tool comes with, again, with the default setting that we have currently. And then I can start deciding whatever I would like to use. Now the slab in sketch mode is something that we will use later on today. So I will go with the slab by walls. And actually in this case, this is the simplest because I only need to select the whole building, hit enter, and then the software will recognize its outer contour, and then it will automatically create a setting like, a slab like this.
Good. I think we don't have any openings yet. So how do we add them?
Well, there is let's start with the doors. They work in a similar fashion. When you open this door or the window dialog, you will see built-in settings, like you can go with a flush door, you can go with a double glass door, or you can go with any of these, or you can just go with the library settings by using this command, and then you can just place it. So I just go with a single flush door, and then I just show you how it in general how it works. Whenever you, again, as you can see, there is this exclamation mark. This means that you cannot just put this door freely. There is actually a specific tool for that if you want to. But normally this should be part of a wall, so that's why it works only when you're hovering your mouse over a wall. So you can just click here, and then you can set up the opening direction. Then you click on to another place, and as you can see, again, at the left-hand side, there are settings, predefined styles which you can again extend with your own settings. So now I will work with the 900 millimeter wide door in a partition wall. And as you can see, again, there is this orange dot now on the screen. It appears on the right-hand side of this door. And this means this is the reference point. And the same way I could set up the distance of this reference point from the same side corner point, the same way I could now just type 1500 and hit enter, and then now the software makes it to the
How do you
place.
move the reference point to another point?
let's say I would like to place this door inside with its own center point into the center of this, into the half division point. As you can see, I can easily find the half division point, but now the problem is that I will place the left side. So if I would like to change the reference point, I again use the right hand side options. Next reference point, I hover my mouse back, and then I can see that the orange symbol is grabbed with its center, and then now I can align that, and then I just select it. Now let's just place another one here and another one here. So it's very, very simple.
What happens if you don't have an actual door, but instead you just have a hole in the wall?
There is a dedicated library for that. Let me just show you how you can find the door library. Actually, you just go into the design center doors, and there are the built-in door libraries. And if you just would like to try to find a hole, then you will find built-in holes that you can use as doors or windows. But if you would like to turn an existing one into an opening, then you just select that and you go to the properties, and in the properties dialog here you will find the hide opening and make a void. This is actually literally turning it into a whole cut into a cut in the wall. And okay, and then now I have this opening.
How do you,
and as you can see,
modify the size? It should be a bit wider, I think.
Yeah. So, well, anytime when you select a door, you just click on its symbol and it's selected. Now, in case of a hole, it's a bit more tricky because you need to click on its side because there's nothing to click here. So you just click here, and then the software either finds it automatically or it finds something else at the same click point. Now, it's actually true, yes, and that at this point there is the wall as well. So if that happens, and as your project grows in detail, this will happen from time to time. You will be able to select that specific item. The software will automatically create the jump list. Now let's talk about these. These are markers. We call them markers. These markers mark the situation or the value or the corner point or something that appears right away here. Like for example, here you can see the height, the width. You can see whether it's the left or right hand side of this door. And also, if you click on the corner point, you can see the change size option. You can just resize it. Click on the new position. And again, if I wanted to, I could just type a value as well. So this way you can make it larger. And let's just make a few windows because it's actually...
Yes, what are the particularities of adding a window? So how are they different from...
Well, one of the differences is that they likely have a parapet or a sill height, as you can see them here. And sometimes they are not just freestanding windows anywhere in the center. I can use the next reference point tool and just click on the center point and so on. So this way is rather similar to the previous solution, but there is one specialty, I believe, to these, and those are the corner windows. Sometimes you would like to create a corner window which is something similar to what you can see here, but without the wall here. I just would like to see the windows
touching each other
with the column, perhaps making them join together. So there is a tool here which is called a window, and there is the it's actually, yeah, it's here. I cannot see from my eyes. It's the join two openings on wall corner. So you need to select one of them and the other one, and then it's joining. And if you start the same tool in the 2D, it works actually the same way. So you just go here, and
so now the windows actually retain their sizes.
Yeah, so they just
you can decide that you want to do some other way, but this is one way to do it. Actually, we did a webinar on doors and windows a few weeks ago, so that would show you the essentials. One thing that I just want to add here is that how are these doors and windows getting to the software? So what are the sources? Just to mention a few words.
There is the built-in library, of course, which you can fine tweak. You can go into the details of any of the doors and windows, and you will find this basic geometry page, and here you can just tweak them. You can also use the new door, new window command to literally create something. We have this topic how you can turn an object into door and window and use them. Download from beamobject.com, Google 3D Warehouse, and to change it, to use it as an asset for a door or a window.
Use whichever sources is best for you.
Yeah.
How do we turn this into a multi-level, the multi-story building?
Well, before I do that, there was one thing that I wanted to show you about the slab. If you click on the slab, As you can see, there is a bunch of lines and dots appearing. These are also markers. And with those, you can actually literally at any time stretch the content. You can, what I did here, I click here and I select offset, which is shifting, parallel shifting. I click here and then I click here. I just remove this node. It's like a pin. I just remove that. So now it's merged, the two edges, and then I can just move this here and further extend it. So you can flexibly edit all items in ARCHLine. So this is what happened. So now let's talk about the floor and the level management system.
Actually, before you do that, maybe we should install the staircase first. Because you have to move from one place to the other. So
there's a built-in staircase tool in ARCHLine. It's a parametric tool. So whatever you design, I will just go with a very simple L form with a landing. So whatever you design, you can again just click on the corner points. Sometimes it will be initially larger than what you want. No, don't worry. It's just how it appears. But then you can go to the settings with this little pencil. You just select it, click on the pencil, and then you can set the height. I believe now that the full height from floor to floor will be 3000 millimeters. So I just changed that. And whenever you change a value, you need to wait a little bit, and the software recalculates the ergonomy, and then it makes some sort of determination of whether it's okay or not. Actually, if I just click OK, the software will create it. The software won't mind if the ergonomy is not correct.
But it does.
It will tell me if it's not, but it will let me decide whether I like it or not. This could be a renovation. So in that case,
yes. In that case, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah, ergonomy is different in that case. So let me just change a few values. For example, I know we only have less than 2 meters here. We have 1,800, and that divided by 2 will be the width of one side. So this will be 900. So let's just type the value. Let's wait a little bit so it recalculates the whole thing, and then now I have this opening here.
How do you make that
if I would like to keep it, it's fine, but actually I would like to change the whole width of this whole staircase. So from here to here, and there's a little figure here that this is locked. And that's why I cannot just change this value. If I unlock this value, then I can type the correct value, and then again, I just wait a little bit, and I can see it appears correctly. So I click OK, and then I have this here. One another thing that you will likely want to create for a staircase is actually
railing, perhaps?
A railing. There are many ways to create a railing, but in case of a staircase, it's the simplest to go to the railing settings, select on which side you would like to place it. Now it's actually, if you walk up the stair, it's on the right hand side, so I just click here, and then I select any of these styles that the software is shipped with, or which I created. There are a few here appearing. So let me just go with this one.
Is fine.
With this one, and when I click OK, the software automatically drafts that for me. So now actually we're done with this floor. So what I will do, I will select the whole content. I just click here, move my mouse to the right, click and drag, and click again. So I just selected everything in the 2D and in the 3D. And then now at the left-hand side, there is an option appearing, and it's called Copy Objects to Other Floor. And if I click here, I can just select another floor, which is now the first floor. So if I do that, the software will make a double or triple.
Makes an exact copy of this floor.
And then I can just start customizing. Like for example, somehow the layout is different. There's no wall like this. This is also missing. This is also.
How do I know which floor I'm currently on?
well, it appears at least 2 or 3 places around the interface. One is at the top, which is now telling me now I'm at the first floor of this building. And the other part is here. I can see I'm on the first floor. So I can use this as a jump list to go back to the ground floor. I can even use these arrows to go up and down. It's like flipping a page of a book. And also there is a shortcut for that. It's the page up and a page down. So you can flip between the floors. Now I have a double, of course, of the stair as well. I don't want that. I don't even want the railing. I just remove that. In case of a stair, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong floor now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just undo
with
Control Z, yeah, and well, that's actually the same thing here. So I go up, I just push the page up button. I can see it appearing on the first floor. So now on the first floor, I just select this item. I just remove that, and then here I just would like to make some adjustments because this is not how I would like to see this stair. I just go to the settings, and then I go to the general properties. And instead of the dotted above the section line, I will use the no section line setting, which is the top view actually of the stair. And then there is one other setting which I would like to keep, I would like to disable, is the 3D creation. I don't want to see the 3D body of this copy. I only would like to see the symbol of that. So this is how
Why is that?
happens. It's because, now let me just remove that. It's because here there will be an opening. There is no opening yet. There will be an opening, and from the opening I can see this as a top view.
I see.
So let me just go back on the first floor. I mean the ground floor.
So how do you create an opening above the
to create a cut into a slab? You can at any time select the slab, and you can use the local menu and use the hole command. I'm actually working on the bottommost element, and I don't want to cut a hole into that, but I just would like to show you that this is one way of doing so. The easiest and most convenient way to do with this specific staircase is to select it and tell the software, instruct the software to cut the slabs above the stair. This is the fastest method. The software will automatically cut the staircase, the slab above the staircase, and you can even go there, select this this whole slab, and you will see the cut. And if you like to modify, you can just simply modify its contour, making changes, and then you will see the result.
Perfect. How about adding some roof elements, maybe?
Well, the roof is another topic which we will cover when I open the following version of this software. But before we do that, I didn't talk a little bit more detail about the floor system.
Oh yes, the floor management.
There's
and
one
the
thing
binding
I
rules.
would like to really show you, and that's it. That's how to manage those. When you click here, you can see the default floor list. You can add above, below, you can remove, you can rename, just double click on it and you can rename. You can change their heights, and you can change variables here. Now we have a detailed description of how this works, but by default, as you can see, I'm not touching anything. I'm just using the values as they are because of these settings, because of how the software is handling this content. Whenever I go back here and say we went to the site and we decided to make the bottom floor, the ground floor, I don't know, 300mm larger, then I just go here, I just edit the ground floor height. I just say that, okay, this should be 300mm taller. And then when I click OK, now the software makes adjustment on the floor and in the 3D automatically. So now we didn't see that happening, but as you can see, the distance between this window to this part is larger.
Maybe if you undid it, then you would see it.
Yeah, well, not in this case, because this was a floor setting, but I just reverse it. So I just go back here and I change it back 0 and OK, and see now it's
now we can see that
jumping back.
So the point here is that if you have to go back to your design and make some changes, the components will comply with the changes automatically.
Yeah, because if this wouldn't happen, then in let's say classical approaches with other software, what you would have to do is just modify the existing items, the properties of them, and that's not what you want to do. You just would like to make the changes, and then you want the software to recognize that this is a situation when this should be changed. So that's ARCHLine.XP will do that for you.
That's right.
So let me load the following stage of this project, and this is with the slabs and the roof,
perhaps a railing on the balcony.
and railings, yeah. So to focus on that and to show you what happens here, we already have a few items. So this is what I'm willing to create, okay. And there is another version of this project, I believe, which is without these items. Let me just go here. There is actually, unfortunately, I overwritten this, so let's just click cancel.
We can just delete
so let me
it
just
and
remove these, and I will show you how to create those. Let's just remove this and this.
So the interesting part here is that there are two kinds of roofs that you want to
And
create. One is a flat roof, and the other one is a slanted one. So
yeah.
What are the differences? How would you go about doing this?
So this is how it looked before I started working with this one, and I was on the ground floor. So I just jump back to the first floor, and I can make, to the top floor. This is the roof floor. So here I would like to create a flat roof with a slab, and for that I would like to see the content which is below.
You can't right now.
So I go here, and I click on the first floor's visibility icon, and then I click here, so it becomes visible. So now I can refer to that. So when I start using the slab tool, slab in sketch mode. This is where I would like to use that. I just trace the contour of this wall or this layout
below your level.
Yeah, and now I'm done, so I just hit enter. The software will create a closed loop, as you can see here. And then, just as you could see it before with other tools, you can use the offset tools, for example, to make it larger. You can use this regular offset to...
Or you could be even adding some new nodes and use them.
Yeah,
to
you can break it apart, or you can again use values here, so you can just type a value that how you would like to shift it. So you can literally just create that. And there is also another tool which is called the sweep tool. This comes with this specific option which allows you to follow a contour, and I'm working on the 2D, but as you can see it appears automatically in the 3D as well. So using this setting you can actually create something that will be kind of a decoration item now in this case, but you can use it for many other purposes. It's a very simple thing. It's like it's a swapped profile along the path, and now the profile itself is a rectangular profile, and the path is the one, the red one that I just drafted. And if I would like to change the cross section, I go to this setting and let me just go with a simple rectangular one. So I go here and I select rectangle. Let's just find rectangle. I don't remember where is rectangle, so I just go to the home
and you will find
and
it.
I type rectangle. Rectangle, and there are plenty, but I just would like to go with the simplest one, this one. And then I can just you know, resize it. Like, let's say the width is around 5 centimeters and the height is around 10 or so. And I can also change the material properties to gray. When I'm done, it appears. And if I'm not satisfied with the positioning with any of those settings, I can change that. Let me just show you one glimpse of that. For example, now it's aligned with its own center point, and I'm not happy with that. So I go to the properties, I go to the settings, and I find the cross-section profile. And in the cross-section profile, there is always this little edit profile option. And here is the trick. This is why it's aligned with its center point. I would like to align it with its top left corner, for example. Let's just check whether I would like to... no, it's actually on the other side. So I just go here and see from here, I move to this one. I click there. Okay, so now it jumps outside of this blue line. And then I say, okay, so now I'm done with that, and this is how.
So there's one solution to add some decoration profiles or anything like that. But what happens with the other roof part that you see behind the chimney? How do you add that?
Well, this is now I will create this with a real roof, and this is in the building roof tools. Now, before I do that, let me just show you another example, because this will be only one pitch, actually only with one plane. But actually, when you make a little bit more complex roof than that, you will see that there are roof shapes, built-in roof shapes, like the open gable, the jerking head gambrel, and so on. So whenever you go with any of those, the software allows you to, you know, draft on top of an existing item, and it will create it, and you can fine tweak of the settings, how it looks like. But let's just erase that and show how the other option goes. So I just go to the roof, and there is the roof plane by reference line, and this allows me to draft the outer contour of this roof. And by the way, see, I'm just making a mistake here.
What do you do then?
So I can undo when I'm drafting it, and then I can, you know, fine tweak it. Later on, of course, I can change the contour by clicking on it.
But it's easier to get it right on the first try. So if you ever make a mistake while you are sketching, you don't have to terminate the whole command. And you just go back.
So now the drawing is quite dense already, so I need to keep my eyes on what I select. So I just click here, and then I think I'm done. It's okay. And then now I just need to click on one of the corner points and see there is this little arrow indicating the elevation direction of where the pitch goes, and then I just use a value of, I don't know, perhaps 15 or 20 degrees, and then there is this height. This is also measured from the zero of this level, so this will be too high. I would like to show you how that goes. If I click OK, see, now it's floating in the midair, and that's because of that setting. So you have at least two options. Each and every time when you have already something on your drawing and then you select it, you can change the properties of a wall, of a roof, or whatever you would like to change here at the left hand side. Like, for example, there's this base offset from the floor. This is the value that I'm willing to change. Let me just change that to 1,500. Now, actually, I just changed the value. I'm working already in meters. So it's that. So if I like that, I keep that. Or there is, in case of roofs, I use it many times. I just select the roof in the 3D, and if it's just a you know, not the
Yes,
final version, you
just a conceptual drawing. That's right.
Then you can just, you know, fine tweak it later, but conceptually it's already okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now when this happens, this is now at this stage is normal because the software did not update the 3D yet, but I can instruct it manually to, okay, let's rebuild the 3D, and then it will automatically cut the model.
What about that extension over there?
Let me just show you that as well. It's just, again, using the same insert node and offset the content. So it really depends on what I select. Insert it here, insert another one here, and so on. So I can draft it, and then now again, if I click on the 3D hammer to rebuild the model, then it's updated.
You mentioned something about railings. We already added them to the staircase. So what else can we show?
Yeah, so about the railings, if you would like to create a railing here around where there's no stair, then you can use the railing tool, railing drafting tool, and then you can just go, I'm actually in the 2D now. So
by the way, you could have done this in the 3D as well, but if we do it in the 2D, you can see it better. So
again, I can go with the built-in settings of any of those. I just go with the default one, and then I just click on the corner points, I hit enter, and then again enter because I don't want to change the height, and then I just keep going, and then I have these two. Now,
how do you fine-tune this? Because there seems to be too many
we actually again have a way more detailed webinar about how to change the staircase and railings, but just a quick glimpse here. Whenever you select an item and you go to the properties, in case of railing as well, you will find all the necessary settings that you can fine tweak. Like for example, this specific item, when you go through the item, you will find that this is the baluster by big step. So if you enable, disable, you can change that setting. You can even change the whatever you would like to see, a little standing posts or something like that. You can just fine tune everything here. So you just say okay, and then it happens. And then in case of a more complex solution like this one here, I just use the F2 key to magnify the content, which is actually the same like this one. So when you click here, and you can see these little markers here appearing in case of
components.
These are the components. So you just click here, and then you have the same options. You just disable that, and see it didn't change the rest of the settings of this little railing around.
Now, without spoiling too much what we are going to talk about at the last of this series episodes, let's talk about visualization. What are the outputs that you can get from this drawing?
Okay, let me open the final version or the semi-final version of this model. And this represents the building itself, already done. There is some surrounding around it. We will discuss the surrounding as well in the following session. So I'm sorry, I loaded literally the final version. So I'm willing to open this one.
Things,
this one. So open, quit without saving. Yep. And then so this represents the same building, just without the other content. So if I would like to create an elevation of that, it's for the project navigator. I just enable that, and there you can see that there are the elevations. Now,
are they already created?
North, south, and west is something that you can create when you click on it. So let me just create a north elevation, for example. Yeah, I would like to create that. The software will automatically represent it, and then you can fine tweak it. So you can go to the settings and you can add some shading. Let's say I would like to see the shadow contour with hatches and lines, shaded with texture. So I would like to see how it looks like, and an elevation shadow. And when I hit OK, now the software calculates this result, and then I can go into the settings and change the material settings to make this look different if I want to. But let's talk about this when we create the section. Now the section is rather similar to this. In case of a section, I go to the documentation and I select the section tool. This section tool has a few options here, and I would like to create a regular section now, so I go with the first option, and then I just go with the default settings. The only thing that I change here, because now I'm willing to create an architectural section, is that I would like to create the hatch on the section. and then I click OK, and then I just draft the line. Let's just go through this here. 2 clicks.
And the third one too.
And the direction. And yeah, the software creates that section. Now it's not detailed yet, we will talk about that later, but as you can see, it automatically intersects the building. And then if you make changes, like for example, I just wanted to make a break here. So I just break the line into 2 parts, and then I click on the right-hand side, offset it to the center of this corridor, enter, and yes, I update the section, then it changes a little bit here. As you can see, there is this break line here.
Perfect. Now, before we talk about how to get this all together,
Yeah.
let's talk about 3D representations, because
Yeah.
there's a very interesting thing that we see right now. So far we were in an axonometric view, but now we are in perspective. So
Yeah.
what gives?
Well, to switch between the two, you can use this little navigation bar. Here at the right-hand side, you can find the regular views like the classic right view, top view, and so on, axonometric view. And then if you would like to go to the real perspective view, you need to click on the little eye here. And then this will bring you into a specific 3D view wherever you left off. And then you can move this. By default, it will appear near to the building. I just edited it in the wrong way now. So it appears here, and you can also go to the side views, like for example here on the right view, and see now this building is actually floating very high in the air, and that's because we already determined some of the beam settings, which we will
Yes.
cover later, which is the elevation from the
above sea level, perhaps.
above the sea level. So now you can set up a view. So basically, whenever you click here, all you need to select is on the top view where you would like to look at and where you are in the 3D space, and hit OK, and then you can actually just fine tune it using the shift and mouse wheel, holding that down, and just
Can we perhaps create a cutaway so we can look at it like it was a dollhouse or something?
yeah, for that actually you can use the section. I mean, there is this define section tool to cut away the whole building, but it works in the
Yes.
2D only. Which what you
No, I
wanted
just
to
wanted
show?
to see the this thing.
Yeah, so this one, right?
Yes.
So if when you click on that, you can actually say that you would like to, actually literally draft a contour around and cut this halfway. Let me just go back.
I think it's in axonometric.
I think this is the. Well, sorry for that. Yeah, that you're right. So I just go to the axonometric view, which is, for example, the front view. The front view. So I just go to this one. So I just cut it half. So I go to the section and the 3D model section, and then now I just draft something, like that. And then when I hit enter, I just click on the inside to keep that. And this is just a permanent, just a temporary change. And then it looks like that.
Yes.
You can use this for renders, for all sorts of representation. But whenever you go back to the 2D and you rebuild the 3D, then the software will get back to the original result. And then you can use the...
One last thing I think we should show is how to get one of these drawings that you created into a PDF document. So how do you push that into an external format?
Yeah, for that, let me just go back to the 2D here. And as we already have a few details here, let me just quickly show you one specific thing, and then I prepare the layout, and that's about dimensions. I can just use the building dimension, walls dimension, or the all walls dimension, and then I can select options that I would like to represent here. There is actually one setting which summarizes the whole building, and that's also something that I have selected here. And then I can select the whole building, I click enter, and then I just place it around, and then the software automatically details that. And this will follow the changes, and also the same happens with the doors and windows. So now if I would like to print this, I would always recommend to create a plot layout. Prepare plot layout, even if it's only an A4 size, you can just select that paper. I will go with an A2, for example, with a landscape. You can also add your plot stamp. This will be this one at this specific case. And then the software will create a new sheet. And then here you can actually fill up the details.
Oh yes, you can bring in the project details, which are again BIM data that you can add to your project.
Yeah, actually data that was already filled, the software automatically fills up. You don't even need to push any sort of button, it's automatically read. And this information was actually read from the file, BIM, and project parameters. This is something that appears whenever you create a new project.
You can see that the plot stamp is automatically filled up.
Yeah, so this is already filled up, and to put the content here and to be able to print it into a PDF file, for example, all you need to do is to find the proper drawing. Like in my case, this should be the ground floor, so I just click and drag, and I select the scaling. Let's go with 1:100. Let's just place it here. And let's go with another drawing. Let's just select the first floor as well. Let's just place it 1:100 again, and this goes here. And then if I would like to add a smaller detail here, I can just go to the floor plan, find the proper place, and say that here in the plot layout, I would like to copy part of a plot layout. Yeah, okay. So I
not
just
taking a whole drawing, but instead you are just taking one part of it. Let's say you want to have a few
like
rooms.
this one, for example. On this specific part for any sort of reason.
Yes.
And then I click here, and then when I zoom in, I mean move back to the drawing sheet, I go to the plot layout and I just paste this part to the plot layout. I would like to paste it, so I just go to the paste to plot layout. So this is again something that I can select. So let's just go with 1:25. I believe it will be
Yes, it would fit
large enough.
nicely.
So whatever you have placed here, you can just select later on, change the content, what you would like to see. You can make it larger, you can make it smaller. This title automatically appears, which you can change here. And this is actually not just the title; it renames the name as well. So if you click
so
here,
the drawing can be renamed from here.
I just made a typo here, for example. I just say okay, floor plan, and then it renames it here, so I can see.
How do you print this? Into a PDF, for instance?
So into a PDF, if I would like to publish it, I just click on the print to PDF option, and now the dialog appears automatically. And here in this dialog, I can set up the PDF format. In some countries, it's important that you can create a level B or level A PDF archive. Now I just go with the regular one, and I select the file. And this should be something. Let me just save it on your desktop. This will be the floor plan of this building, and click on create, and then now I cannot see any sort of content, and whenever I see it, actually very small, and
because it's already scaled down.
The reason to that is that the paper size is not correct here. So let me just go back. I think it was A2, and the sizing is not correct because I already sized this. This is already 1:1, so I just go to 1:1, and then it appears correctly.
Yes. That's
so let's just go with this one. Let's print it, and then if you have a PDF reader installed, it automatically appears. It appeared on our other screen, but now I am bringing it back. So this is how it goes. We will later talk about how you can create multi-page PDFs and things like that, and how you can, what sort of other things come necessary when you are willing to make details and documentation. But this is actually the whole thing, how it covers the whole workflow. And actually, just a final touch. If I load the final version of this project, this was it. And then I will just quickly show you how to make a render, because I think this way the whole story is a whole.
Yes, because we are aiming at something like this. So this is the outcome that we want to achieve. So
now what I have here, it's not finished yet, so this will be just a draft. But whenever you select the 3D and you set up a representation of that, let me just go like this. Let me just enlarge that. And then when you click here, you will be able to create a rendering. I will just go with the draft, so it will be really fast and not the final quality. But I just set up the resolution, what sort of lights I would like to see with what sort of background.
Perhaps.
And then when I click on rendering, the software will digest the content. And then it will very quickly realize a visual, which when I see, I can, because I just go with the real-time rendering, I can just zoom in, make adjustments, make changes here, and whenever I do that, the software will reflect those changes.
So it automatically tracks the changes.
When I change the settings of the materials, this is also very useful, and then at the end, of course, I can save this as an image file. So I think now the story is a whole.
Perfect. So that we just wanted to give you a taste of what ARCHLine has to offer, but obviously we are going to keep on doing this for the next 4 shows. We are going to keep on talking about the design stages that we are going to discuss. And actually that takes us to what we are going to talk about next, not next week, but the week after. And that is about using architectural data, because you need to know how you can use existing data. They could be drawings, BIM files, or files generated with another software product, objects that you have already created, drawings that you created in another software. You need to know how all this comes together and how you can create something like that, something like the project that we just created. And this all goes into collaboration, how to use data which is already there. So that's what we are going to discuss next time. Until then, thank you very much for your attention, and see you next time when we talk about using architectural data.
And goodbye, and like our video if you like it.
Yes, if you liked it, then like our videos and subscribe to our channel so you would never miss a show like that. Thank you. Bye-bye.